Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here among all of you. So, today I'm going to share the learnings which I had in my life so far. She was my FPG. You heard it wrong, not LPG, FPG. FPG is friend, philosopher, and guide. She never went to formal school, not a single day in her life. She was my more, my mother's mother, my own grandmother, and we called her Jija. I come from Rajasthan, so usually elderly people are called by name Jija. And I want to tell you about the most focused person in my whole entire life, what I learned from her about focus and faith. That's what I'm going to share. One fine morning, everything changed. Her son, who was just 25 years old, met a tragic accident. He died suddenly, and it was devastating. Next day, and he, left his son, who was 3 months old. Next day, I walked into the dining room to bring her food. She was sitting there, still staring at the table. She looked at me, looked at the food, and said, खाना तो पड़ेगा, क्योंकि लंबा जाना है. I was 11 years old, didn't understand. Um, if I translate, she said, I have a long way to go, I must eat. Those words remained with me till date. खाना तो पड़ेगा क्योंकि लंबा जाना है. I couldn't understand, what exactly she was saying. But at that moment, she knew that now she has taken the responsibility of raising that 3 months old child. Fast forward 30 years, this child became a banker, got married, and had son, who was 3 months old. She called all of us, she threw a grand party, and told us that my goal is done. And it's my time to go now. And I said, no, Nani, you can't say that. I have my daughter and she also needs to get married. And she said, that's your problem. Okay, so, and by the way, she was 105 that time. So imagine 30 years every single day waking up with a purpose that I need to make this boy a man, a successful one. And I want to see the next generation before I go. So that's the focus, that's the focus I got. And, that's I thought that when I start my journey. In parallel, I was also doing my own journey. And I started as an engineer, then did MBA, and then went to join one of the greatest telecom company called Ericsson, and that's where I met three key partners of my life. One was my life partner. I met her there, and two business partners. And together, there we did lots of fantastic things, like when you call someone, you hear the ringback tone or the song. So that was invented by three of us. For the first OTT platform for India, the first application store for India, and realized that there is a lot of innovation which goes in. Why don't we start? Why don't we start something which will be impactful? And that's how we started a company in 2012 called Orahi. And as the name suggests, it means "O Traveler," and taken from a very famous Kishore Kumar song called "Ruk Jana Nahi, Tu Kahin Haar Ke, Kaanton Pe Chal Ke Milenge Saaye Bahar Ke, Orahi, Orahi, Orahi." Meaning, don't stop. Life is going to be difficult. There are going to be thorns before you see the light of spring. So, O Traveler, keep moving, keep going. Well, we did that, but before taking a plunge, I thought I should go back home and check with my wife. I said, now I'm going to leave this cushy job. I'm planning to leave. What do you say? Should I or should I not? And I still remember the, advice. She said, you only have one life. Okay? Go for it. You shouldn't be having any regret later on. So that's how we started Orahi, the company, a lot of innovation. Again, in the company, we are India's first ride-sharing company, 2016. We helped Audible, launching Audible. As a result, we got covered by 400 plus media companies, including BBC. And then came in a thought, which was my childhood dream, that, Sone ki Chidiya, Viksit Bharat. And I thought, this journey has been absolutely fantastic. A lot of learning, a lot of failures, learnings from failures. Why not share this with the next generation and create founders from our country? And then started working on that and called this 1 million founders. Why 1 million founders? Because if we really need to transform our country, we really need to change the way we think. When I talk about Global Innovation Index, we are ranked 38th. Population-wise, number 1. GDP-wise, among the top 5 countries. Why innovation-wise 38th? While my partner country, Sweden, remains at number 2 for the last 20 years. So there has been a lot of learning from there and thought, okay, why can't we make our country, among top 5? How do we do that? Let's empower our next generation. And that is what we thought we should do, 1 million founders and teach everybody. So that's the mission we started with. And what we are doing is we are taking students from schoolroom to boardroom. They all come to our office and they learn the tricks and trades of starting a business in a very, very innovative way. Now, there's another very interesting thing. We all went through, the dark days of COVID. Remember, we were doing carpooling as a company. And came in COVID. Nobody was going to office. There was no traffic on the road. The business was zero. But right before that, there were 2 things which happened. One was a eureka moment. I was standing at the bus stop with my daughter, Ira, and waiting for the bus. And I was like, okay, can I do something so that I know where the bus is? And being an engineer, I thought, okay, let's put a simple, small GPS device in the bus. Did that. The school liked the idea. They said, why don't you give it to everyone? I said, okay, fantastic. We created another product. And then came in another interesting, very, very interesting coincidence, which was that a friend, I have a habit of, calling my friends for no rhyme or reason, just calling my friends from airport and call them in alphabetical order. And that day it was a number of S. S was the alphabet. I called my friend who was supposed to be in China. I called, there was somebody who picked the phone and started talking in Chinese. And I was like, okay, there is something not, correct here. Then I called his brother and said, okay, where is your brother? And he said, he moved back to Sweden. I said, okay. I called him and said, how are you doing? What are you doing? Just before that, I was struggling with a project where the CEO was unsure. The CEO was unsure that 5,000 kilometers away, there is somebody who's sitting in India, whether that person is going to be able to deliver the project. And bingo, to my surprise, there was a 1 in 8 billion chance. The very same friend of mine who was supposed to be in China was in Sweden and was working with the same CEO. Impossible, right? Absolutely impossible. I mean, it has never happened before like that. Now, I got the project and started working on it. And that's when the corona came in, lost complete business of carpooling, lost complete business of bus tracking, because students were also annoying. But we survived because we had that IoT project and started expanding on that. As a result, we also created a joint venture in Sweden with a company called CONSAT, and today run CONSAT and Orahi. Okay, so if I summarize this, one is focus, where it really helped in reaching here, and the other one is faith on that focus. These two things really kept us going, and today we are here and working on this 1 million founders, where our main objective is to create innovation in the country, and the second objective is to create job creators so that they can expand and change the country. And before that, we also want to have, out of this 1 million founders, we want to have at least 10,000 companies, so that these 10,000 companies can change the way, our country is on the innovation, as well as the growth path where we become Viksit Bharat or Sone ki Chiriya again. So with that, let's hope that our next generation have focus and faith as two of these tools to create a Viksit Bharat or Sone ki Chiriya. Thank you so much.